everyone. I'm Symphony Privet. Thank you for joining us here on Featured. We hope to inspire or simply make you smile with uplifting stories across the country. A single mother earned her master's degree while raising 11 kids and navigating hearing loss. Maria Stobbs takes us to her graduation.
Heather Porter.
It's a moment years in the making for Heather Porter, walking the stage to receive her master's degree from Grand Canyon University.
I questioned the whole time. There's been lots of tears throughout this program.
Her path here was anything but straightforward. It started during her undergrad when she noticed something was off.
I was really struggling to understand things that other people were easily understanding.
Doctors diagnosed her with an autoimmune inner ear condition.
It was very isolating and scary.
Warning she could lose all of her hearing.
I had an identity crisis, I feel like. I started withdrawing from a lot of my social groups, even my family.
She eventually received a cochlear implant, a surgically implanted electronic device that sends sound signals directly to the brain. But after more than a year,
it started acting up really bad. It was causing some pains and things, and we found out it was failing.
She underwent surgery to replace it, all while continuing school and raising her family. Through it all, she leaned on this.
My kids.
All 11 of them, including 5 children the single mother adopted.
They give me so much purpose, so much reason to live.
Even when fear made simple moments like walking into class feel overwhelming.
I felt like I was going to have a panic attack, and it ended up being fine.
Along the way, she found support in her faith and in the deaf community, and she kept moving forward.
We can all overcome the challenges that life puts in front of us, and not only overcome them, but become better because of them.
Now, with her degree in hand, she's sending this message.
There is hope, no matter how low life feels and how hopeless it seems right now.
Reporting in Phoenix, Maria Stobbs.
One woman in Texas has spent decades turning a new page for a good cause. Here's Mark Mullins with her story.
Keep going. Yeah, it's 3 more lines.
At first glance, you may not see why this retired librarian is considered a local hero by those who know her. That's why you have to listen.
The Prowls remains a question that continues to burn and that is still unanswered.
For 35 years, she has been giving her time and her voice to those who need her.
I love what I do. Anything that has to do with books, I love.
Her calling is right there in her name. Mindy Reed,
R-E-E-D,
is a tenured volunteer at the Texas State Library's Talking Book program.
What can be better than a book? What can be better than just sitting in a booth and reading a book for a couple hours every week?
I enjoy doing it. You can tell how much Mindy enjoys doing it. And it's just something fun to do that's helping people.
Every Tuesday morning, Mindy and her volunteer sidekick, John Long, pick up from where they left off in this small studio to bring stories from the page to the ear for those who may otherwise have a tough time reading.
Because they're sight impaired, maybe they have severe arthritis so they can't hold a book. Any reason that creates a barrier between them having access to reading material.
With John at the controls and Mindy behind the mic.
And then I'll just keep going till the end of the sentence.
They are a team, building a friendship through their shared love for serving others.
This is interesting. Didn't think we'd be doing all this today.
Since the mid-90s, Mindy has completed recording 22 books, now available at the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled, and countless articles from Texas publications.
Oh, it's amazing. It gives me something to aspire to. I've been doing it 15 or 16 years and just so much more for her.
Side by side, the two look up to each other for different reasons. They both proudly show their certificates of appreciation from the Texas State Library. Mindy has logged more than 2,433 hours of volunteering. John is reaching the 1,500-hour mark.
Although he must have known about the guilt of the Prowls.
This all may be just a bunch of words, but it's the action behind them, making a difference for so many who either cannot see the pages or hold a book, which is why Mindy has been so happy to lend her voice all these years.
And there's nothing in this world as wonderful as being read to.
That was Mark Mullins reporting. Now, I love that her last name is Reed, R-E-E-D, and she reads stories at the library. Now, Mindy not only volunteers with the Texas Talking Book program, she also started the Recycling Reads program at the Austin Public Library and oversaw that operation for 10 years. That is incredible. Well, moving on to our next story here. It is hard to imagine, starting your own company at just 15 years old, but that is exactly what one student did in Illinois. The teen is skipping college to continue growing his lawn care business, which is expected to bring in nearly $500,000 this year. Wow. All right, Jonas Evans tells us how the teen is building his business.
After quitting the basketball team at the age of 15, Sherrard native Wade Connor suddenly needed something to do.
I hadn't had that weird sensation like, I know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
While still in high school, he decided to start a landscaping business.
Went upstairs and told my parents, and they're like, cool, now start. You have to take action.
Once a company name and logo were made, it was time to find clients, and Wade chose to do it the old-fashioned way.
I was very nervous. Knocking on that first door, I was scared. I was like shaking, because it's like, what if they say no? But over time, you get rid of that fear.
One of the first neighbors to say yes was Brian Eisentrout.
It's harder to get started. Somebody that's got the gumption to go do that and make it go, that's really a good thing. We need to support that.
In its first year, Wade's property services made $10,000, then $40,000 the next year.
His business just kept growing, and the next year it doubled again. And we're like, okay, so he wants to turn this into an LLC now. He's making good money. Let's turn it into a business.
Pretty soon, 10 clients turned into over 100. And after 2 years, Wade's childhood best friend, Caden, became the company's second employee.
Out of high school, I could have went into firefighting, but it kind of goes back to that friendship, like trusting each other and trusting what he's got going, and being a part of that isn't something I wanted to give up.
Now in year 5, Wade is up to 3 full-time employees, all under the age of 21, and the company is projected to make nearly $500,000 in revenue.
Thank you. All of the money is going back to our equipment, shops, paying the guys livable wages.
Because this young entrepreneur's goals go far beyond just Sherrard.
I picture having 50 full-time employees, and we're scattered all across the Quad Cities and other surrounding areas.
In Sherrard, Jonas Evans.
From pen and paper to publication, one middle school student in Arkansas is now a published author. His book, titled The Williams, is now available on Amazon. The 7th grader's talent is well beyond his years. Here's Tamer Knight.
There's one verse in 2 Timothy that talks about never let anyone look down upon you for your age.
That's a message 7th grade Landon Anderson lives by. As a published author of The Williams, Anderson's journey didn't begin with the book deal, but with the passion for writing and a lot of consistency.
And I remember one Christmas, I begged my parents for a MacBook so I could start typing my books.
Landon began writing his novels on paper, later typing them on a teacher's computer, encouraged by mentors.
One teacher, he kind of taught me a couple lessons with writing because he was, he used to write a lot and he used to read a lot as well, and he worked in the library. So yes, he inspired me a lot.
That support from Anderson's teachers and parents helped turn his imagination into a full-length novel filled with romance, scandal, wealth, and family, written in just 11 months.
My mother specifically, she's the real tough one. She'll make sure you get it done, and my father, he's very understanding. He'll also make sure you get it done, but he's a little bit more polite, but still they work together quite nicely.
And he's not just an author, he's already a natural-born leader who vows to always remain humble.
I lead the Bible study club here. I founded it in late 6th grade in December. I believe it was early 6th grade last year when I was elected as the 6th grade president, and I'm the 7th grade president. So,
looking ahead, Anderson is aiming even higher, with dreams of attending an Ivy League university, pursuing a career in law and politics.
I do aspire to be a politician one day, and hopefully before that, though, I want to have a career in law, because I want to be an attorney first. I want to know the law before I try and preach it to others.
But for now, he's focused on writing his next novel, proving age is just a number when your story is just getting started.
And that was Tamer Knight reporting from Arkansas. Still ahead, 3 young boys waiting on heart transplants at Texas Children's Hospital found more than just care. They found each other. But it's what happens next that stunned their families and deepened a bond built inside hospital walls. We'll share the story with a whole lot of heart. Plus, when a Texas mom hit rock bottom, a knock at the door changed everything. How one nonprofit helped turn her house into a home. Welcome back. Here's a story that will touch your heart. 3 boys at Texas Children's Hospital, best friends each, getting heart transplants within days of each other. Take a look at this. This is video from the going home parade for one of those boys who spent 351 days in the hospital, surrounded by his family, friends, and hospital staff. Ron Trevino has more about the 3 boys who developed a strong bond as they waited for life-saving surgery.
3 boys, ages 6 and 7, each needing a heart transplant, each waiting for roughly a year, basically living at Texas Children's Hospital, becoming great friends, and then miraculously, they all get matches and heart transplants within 10 days of each other. Dr. Joseph Spinner is on their team of physicians.
These kids became friends. Now, what are the odds that they would all have heart transplants within 10 days?
Extremely low odds. These kids waited over a total of 1,000 days combined for their heart transplants in the hospital.
It's a tradition here at Texas Children's. When patients go home, they throw a parade. Nazir had the first one, and joining in, Ahmed and Preston, the 3 boys supporting each other.
As you can imagine, if you're so sick that you need a heart transplant, to think about the donor, to think about the other boys waiting, I just think speaks volumes to all 3 boys and to their parents and their families, that really their heart was in the right place.
The boys have been through so much, yet their doctor says even at their sickest, all they wanted to do was play and be kids.
You save lives, but what do these children teach you?
I think these children teach us how to be grateful for what we have. It's amazing that they could be so sick, yet have such a positive attitude.
Dr. Spinner says their futures look bright. Their new hearts are serving them well. The 3 friends whose bond has seen them through the worst and the best of times. Ron Trevino.
A lot of people, unfortunately, live paycheck to paycheck, and they have to make some pretty tough decisions daily. One Dallas woman lived that way. That is until some strangers stepped in. Here's Sean Giggy.
I have everything that I need. Everything has a place.
It's been about 5 months, but Ashley Turnbow still can't believe she's here, making breakfast with her own pans, in her own kitchen, in her own heaven on earth.
I just woke up and God was like, here you go.
Her divine delivery came in large part from the Studio, a pop-up design shop in Dallas. Open only a month, the Studio is operated by Dwell with Dignity, a nonprofit that seeks to improve the lives of the vulnerable.
A lot of the families that we are serving are moving out of the shelter into their home with just a blow-up mattress and very bare necessities, sometimes not even the items that they need to be successful.
The kind of situation this single mother of 4 never expected. A few years ago, Ashley lost her marriage and her job, all within about a year and a half.
And it was like, I need some help. I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like I'm just in a bad place.
She couldn't afford to fix or furnish anything until late last year, when Dwell with Dignity showed up at her door.
It was just right on time. It was at a time where I felt like I needed to get out of here. It didn't feel like home no more.
They brought life to the living room and warmth to the walls, floor to ceiling and wall to wall. They filled every room, every need, all for free. To fund this work, every year for 1 month, Dwell with Dignity opens the Studio, selling designer furniture to the public at half the cost. It's the nonprofit's biggest fundraiser, paving the way for even bigger blessings.
Even when I'm not looking for happiness, I just feel it. Like, it's just something different about our space. It just feels like love and happiness.
all made possible by people who chose to give.
Yeah.
Because changing the lives of others is no accident. It happens by design. In Dallas, I'm Sean Giggy.
That is incredible. I'm so happy for her. All right, now after a decade of planning, construction is set to begin on a major restoration project in Minneapolis. Gordon Severson has a close-up look at why the changes are so important to that community.
For the Dakota people, water is life.
Water is healing.
And the Mississippi is where life begins.
Our creation story has us coming into human forms from the waters here in Minnesota.
Shelley Buck is hoping to bring new life to the shores of the Mississippi by restoring a 5-acre site near St. Anthony Falls. Right now, the site near the lock and dam is mostly concrete.
As you look around, you know, we've got a parking lot
and an old unused building on the other side that leaders with the Dakota-led nonprofit Owamniyomi Akodayapi are hoping to tear down and transform into green space.
And it'll be something beautiful. You'll see more of what was here before.
The nearly $5 million project will feature native grasses, plants, and trees, and eventually a waterfall that will bring new life to stagnant water that is currently surrounded by concrete.
You know, for us as Dakota people, we see the plants, the animals, the land, and the water as our relatives. And when we treat them better, they treat us better. So you'll be able to start seeing some life come back here from the natural world.
Their goal is to create a new space where visitors and residents can come to enjoy nature and to heal the land along the Mississippi as a thank you to this life-giving water.
This will be a place that we can all connect. It'll be a place to heal together.
That was Gordon Severson reporting. Now, the first phase of the project will wrap up at the end of 2027. The second phase will start in 2028. And leaders say it'll take a few years for the green space to grow, but they say the wait will be worth it to bring a new natural space to downtown Minneapolis. Looks like it's going to be beautiful out there. Already coming up after this break, it is more than just songs for one Houston area family. How they're giving back to children in their community who need it the most. Plus, ahead in our next half hour, tiny homes with a big purpose. How students in Texas are making the difference, one build at a time. Welcome back. A couple in Texas is spreading the power of joy and music to young children. Now, they are going to neighborhoods that don't always have access to music education. Here's Lynn Cannon with their story.
It's concert day at Nativity Academy with music by the Apollo Chamber Players and songs from Prelude Music Foundation.
When you add children to music, there is tremendous joy.
Opera singer Ana Trevino Godfrey and her husband, violinist Jonathan Godfrey, founded Prelude Music Foundation 11 years ago to offer music classes in underserved communities.
We know that children learn through experiences. A child can't possibly learn what they're not exposed to.
And expose they have, now teaching music to 3,300 pre-K children at 20 sites in the Houston area. The couple felt compelled to offer music because of how it has transformed their own lives.
I feel really lucky that when I was in kindergarten, someone came and played a violin in my class.
And you ended up playing professionally.
I ended up playing professionally. And you know, that's not the goal for every student and every child, but to have that exposure really opened doorways for me in my life.
A circle? Yes, ma'am!
The couple says it is more than just a music class, but a superpower that can even unlock emotional connection.
There was a child in particular I can think of who again was new to the neighborhood. It was just, you know, fresh from this traumatic experience and wouldn't interact with the adults in the room and came and sat on Anna's lap during the very first music class.
Prelude Music uses the phrase, learn to sing, singing to learn. Their goal, their calling, is to reach as many children as possible.
To see that light in their eyes just start to shine immediately, we see the future. We see the type of future we hope for Houston. We see connection, we see hope, we see love.
Great story there. Music is so powerful. It can lift you up in just about any kind of situation. All right, that was Lynn Cannon reporting from Texas. Stay with us. Coming up after the break, she once cleaned the halls of Yale. You're going to love this one. Now she is headed back as a doctor. We'll show you the full circle moment for a Howard University medical school graduate. And having fun on a bike can be difficult for some kids who have disabilities. We'll show you how one nonprofit is stepping in to help out. Thank you for staying with us here on Featured. I'm Symphony Privet, and we are continuing to bring you uplifting stories across the country. A Howard University medical student got the news she's waited her whole life for. Now, her story is making a positive impact on lives across the country. Sean Martinelli introduces us to the future doctor writing her own prescription for the American dream.
If a lifetime could be summed up in seconds, this video of Shay Taylor Allen from New Haven, Connecticut says it all.
Do you think it was everything that led up to that moment that led to that reaction?
Exactly. Yeah.
Shay grew up in the shadows of Yale University with a single mom. She graduated high school in the top 10% of her class. But by the time she started college,
I just needed a job to help support my family.
Shay landed at Yale, not as a student, as a janitor. She spent 10 years cleaning floors of Yale New Haven Hospital. During that time, her mom became sick.
We brought her to the ER, and I just remember her crying on the bed and just wanting help, and the doctor pulled us to the side and asked us if she had a mental illness.
After that experience, Shay knew she could no longer be a janitor. A few days later, she searched online how to become a doctor.
I just had this feeling like I needed to save other people.
At the age of 28, Shay eventually enrolled in medical school at Howard University. 4 years later, she would find her fate for residency.
For so many medical students, they're just hoping to get matched, to end up where you ended up.
Once we had our ceremony and I came outside and I opened the envelope and I seen Yale, I just it was a surreal moment for me, and I jumped up and down and I'm screaming from the top of my lungs because it was a sign of relief because everything I've been through to get here.
The same Yale where Shay was once a janitor.
What's it going to be like when you walk into that hospital the next time, not as janitor, but as doctor?
Emotional, very emotional. So I'm excited. A lot of other healthcare workers forget how important their jobs are. So I hope I can show that.
And to think that there could be a janitor there who looks at you and thinks, wow, that could be me.
Now, especially with everything that's going on in our country, that little hope of American dream is still there.
The American dream, still there, one joy-filled moment like this at a time. In Washington, D.C., Sean Martinelli.
I love that happy ending for her. We'll have to see if we can get an update. All right, now for one woman in Indiana, running is about much more than just crossing the finishing line. Samantha Johnson shares what one race means to her.
Near Blue Heron Park in Avon, Jenny Spangler is training for her 59th half marathon.
It's more about just celebrating my health, my fitness.
Jenny started running just 13 years ago, getting physically and mentally stronger.
Well, when you train yourself to run 13 miles or 26 miles, you have a lot of time to think. You know, running clears my mind. It's an outlet. It keeps me strong. I have no doubt that it's helped me in my recent journey.
Last September, Jenny went to the doctor.
I really never felt sick. I just felt a lump in my neck.
The diagnosis? Stage 3 non-Hodgkin lymphoma.
We take life for granted a lot of times, and I can say I've done that myself, but when you get a cancer diagnosis, it changes everything.
Jenny went through 6 rounds of chemo. Her running friends welcoming her home earlier this year, cancer-free.
And I got the all clear to run again. So the Indy Mini will be my first race back since battling cancer.
A comeback story in the making, one step at a time.
I was able to manage that chemotherapy because I was in such good shape from running.
Jenny tells me she's not worried about pacing this year because this isn't a race to the end. This is a celebration.
When I toe that line, it's about celebrating my life, celebrating my fitness, celebrating the fact that I can run.
Running her way into her 59th half marathon and her first as a cancer survivor. In Avon, Samantha Johnson.
Wedding photographers spend their lives capturing love one moment at a time. But for one Georgia couple, the camera went quiet after a serious crash. And now they're documenting a very different kind of story, one about healing. Caitlin Ross shares their story.
Love has always been at the center of Hannah and Corey's work. The quiet moments, small glances, parts of a wedding day most people don't even notice.
It's really just given us an appreciation for life and how many different chapters we get to be a part of and the people that we get to love and serve.
Last October, their own love story changed on Georgia 400.
We were hit and our car ended up rolling and rotating and flipping multiple times.
I don't really remember much, but my left side's pretty messed up from it.
Corey was in a coma for 2 months. While Hannah was healing, she was also waiting for him to wake up. When he did, the road back was slow.
They get me to walk, and speech therapy was working on me talking and swallowing again and all that stuff.
Yeah, you had to relearn how to do a lot, right?
Yeah.
The days inside the hospital felt long and isolating.
When this first happened for me, I was kind of looking on TikTok and Instagram, just trying to find other people who've been through something like this.
So Hannah picked up her camera again, not for weddings, for this.
The beauty and I think the things that matter the most are sometimes just not the prettiest.
The in-between moments, the ones that show just how far he's come.
I just want to be happy to go through life with her.
Through it all, Hannah says Corey still sees the world in a way that feels steady and kind.
He's my best friend and he sees the world and life so beautifully, and he just really brings an element to photography that is just so sweet.
Frame by frame, they are documenting what love looks like.
That was Caitlin Ross reporting from Atlanta. Well, for some people, learning to ride a bike is a little more difficult. At one university in Maine, a program gives kids and adults with special needs the chance to enjoy the freedom and the fun of riding. Here's Vivian Lee with more.
Bayla Harnden is getting ready to try a bike built just for him.
Oh, good. How does it feel?
Students from the University of New England who study occupational and physical therapy adjust the pedals and straps so everything fits perfectly.
Safety first.
Maine Trikers is a nonprofit at UNE that gives adaptive tricycles to people of all ages with disabilities. Each bike is customized to help riders stay safe and enjoy the experience.
From the pedals, handlebars to the seating, there's different wrist braces and straps if they have a difficult time grasping.
Bayla has Down syndrome and uses American Sign Language to communicate. His mother says that having a bike with safety features has made him much happier.
The bike he had before, he fell on it and he was afraid, so it was limiting, and now he can explore and do so much more independently.
Maine Trikers has helped 20 people get tricycles. The nonprofit works with the Maine LEND program, a federal training initiative that includes not only OT and PT students, but students focusing on nursing, special education, and psychology. The bikes range from $600 to several $1,000s and are rarely covered by insurance. Betsy Sear leads the nonprofit.
Families use it as long as they need to. If the child or individual outgrows it, they can return it, and then we recycle it.
For Keegan Corbeil, getting a new adaptive bike is a dream come true. He has Sheldon-Hall syndrome, a rare genetic disorder that affects his joints and limbs, so he now has to use a wheelchair. His mother says a new bike is life-changing.
You know, when they're outside riding, they can be with the other neighborhood kids. Right. You can feel more, included.
And the chance to have fun with friends and family, just like everyone else. In Portland, Vivian Lee.
A group of students in Texas are building tiny homes to give to people without, and they are using their newfound skills to build for people in their community. Now, their teacher says the Tiny Homes project is an opportunity for his students to get some hands-on learning and be a part of something bigger than themselves. Sydney Walker tells us more.
The houses that Temple High construction technology students build may be tiny.
They learn how to ultimately build a house, or at least the fundamentals of building a house.
But teacher Stephen Bishop says the tiny homes have a big impact.
It gave me a whole new perspective on unhoused population, and then what I could do, and then what my students could do.
The idea sparked several years ago, leading Bishop to write a grant for Temple Education Foundation back in 2021.
Long story short, we ended up, building a tiny house.
Giving his students that year a project.
We put it up for auction. A local donor bought it for the auction. They donated it to feed my sheep.
And a community member a home.
It was really neat, and we got to have an opportunity to see the young man that actually got to receive the tiny house.
They're learning real tools of the trade.
We design, architecture, window setting, painting, plumbing, electrical.
Building all by themselves.
We have tried to create a program that is student-led, from blueprint to final creation.
Life-changing for the recipient, Bishop.
Be hands-on with wood, be able to make stuff, craft stuff, and be able to continue to do this in my life.
And the Wildcats.
And I'm glad I get to put my effort and my compassion into it to help somebody have a better life.
This year, they're going bigger and better than before.
This last year, we're like, hey, let's build 2 houses.
Getting hands-on learning and giving someone a home.
If they get anything, that's what I really want them to get from this experience, is like, hey, we can help people simply using our hands.
That was Sydney Walker reporting from Texas. A Pennsylvania woman and her dog are on a mission to help animals in need. Gabrielle Mediak shows us how they're collecting donations and spreading kindness.
Meet Jaslyn and her rescue pup Brutus.
We got him when we were on vacation in Ohio 2 years ago, hence the name Brutus. We are Ohio State fans.
He's also the namesake behind Brutus's Animal Aid, a growing mobile food pantry helping pets in need all across York County. Jaslyn says this idea began after she saw someone asking for dog food online.
We had extra dog food. We took it to this person. It was at a hotel on Route 30, and we saw all these people there, and they were like, do you have more? There were so many dogs there. So we were like, oh, these people need some help.
That moment sparked something bigger. She put out a call for donations on social media, and the response was overwhelming.
So we're easily feeding over 100 dogs, 100 cats every month, plus supplying them with litter.
She says anyone in need can sign up on Brutus's Animal Aid Facebook page. And if you'd like to make a donation, you can find drop-off locations there too. Every month, Jaslyn rents a U-Haul to deliver those donated supplies. And now, she's hoping the community can help her secure a box truck of her own.
Our last pantry last month, the brakes in our U-Haul went out, and that was kind of terrifying and stressful. So I think, it would make me feel better if I had something of my own that I know is being maintained by us.
Jaslyn says organizing these monthly events takes a lot of work, but it never feels like a job.
I got to meet so many cool dogs, so many nice people. I love animals, so it worked out in my favor.
And beyond helping those families, the effort is also easing the burden on overcrowded shelters.
And we can kind of be that backbone for them and say, hey, don't surrender your dog. We know you love your dog. Call us, here's dog food, here's treats, here's cat litter, whatever you need. Especially with how full these rescues are, my main goal is to just keep animals out of them, even if it's just one.
That was Gabrielle Mediak reporting from Pennsylvania. All right, coming up after this break, art on a plate. How Indiana artists are bringing all of the state's parks to life. Coming up next. A group of Indiana artists who paint on porcelain just completed a very special project. Rich Nye spent some time with the artists as they were in the final stages of painting china platters depicting all 25 of Indiana's state parks. Take a look.
These ladies enjoy what many might consider a lost art.
Very relaxing, it's very fulfilling. You start painting and your mind's just on the painting. You really don't know what's really going on around you. You just really get into it.
These porcelain artists really got into the Indiana State Park's Platter Project. As part of the state's America 250 celebration, 9 artists donated their time, talent, and the china to paint landscapes of Indiana's state parks on 25 platters.
Shakamack State Park.
Each platter takes 20 or more hours of work.
I think it's amazing. I grew up going to these parks. I'm from Michigan, but my dad was from Bloomington, Indiana, so we used to spend our summers down at different cousins' house and go to the parks.
We pretty much repaint these 4 and 5 times.
The paint goes on, then fired in a kiln, another layer added until the colors are vibrant and permanent.
You don't have to do anything special to preserve them, just don't drop them.
These state park porcelain platters will be on display throughout the state, with exhibits scheduled now well into 2027 all around Indiana. And eventually, these platters will be donated to the Indiana Department of Natural Resources.
It's nice to put it out there to show people, one, what porcelain painting is, two, the great parks that we have.
This is Mounds State Park.
The artists created their paintings based on fabric squares from a previous art project.
A lot of people ask me, say, why do you paint on china instead of not oil paint or something else? And I tell people, vanity. I said, artists are as vain as any other profession. You want to show off. My work will be here 500 years from now when I'm long gone.
Proud, definitely proud. I think we're all proud. We have our art displayed, and at 250 years of our wonderful country, and I think we're just proud.
Artists serving up beautiful views of Indiana's state parks on a platter. In Martinsville, Rich Knight.
Wow, those ladies are so talented, and I can definitely see people choosing to visit new parks that they haven't been to just based off of those pictures. All right, a teenager in Tennessee is proving that age is just a number when it comes to starting a business. She is proof that even if you are a little bit too young to drive, you can run a booming baking business. Lauren Davis shares the story of a 15-year-old girl who is winning over an entire community.
It started with a simple birthday cake.
I made my sister's birthday cake for her birthday a couple years ago, and then I made my mom's wedding cakes after.
That demand quickly grew. Grace Niermeyer says she began selling at farmers markets, then opened a farm stand. In February, an unexpected opportunity came her way.
I got a message from the previous owner of the bakery wanting to sell it and thought I might be interested. So I said, sure, we looked into it, and then here we are.
Now, just months after taking over the space, her bakery is already drawing crowds. Customers say it's not just the food that stands out, it's the person behind it.
At 15 years old, I was not doing this, so I think it is fantastic she gets this opportunity so young to start such a successful business.
Casey Hodge says Grace has already made an impact in the community through school fundraisers and local events.
Grace has done a lot of fundraiser opportunities for our school for many clubs, including the Bible Journaling Club, which I'm a part of, and so I've gotten to taste her cooking and her baking, and I fell in love.
For Grace, the journey hasn't always been easy, but she says it's been worth it.
It's a little bit overwhelming, but it has its ups and downs.
She's also balancing her education, completing schoolwork at night after spending her day at the bakery. And she's not slowing down anytime soon.
I definitely didn't expect to be here 2 years ago. I thought maybe when I graduated. What's next is hiring some employees, and then opening another one, I guess.
That was Lauren Davis reporting from Tennessee. Still ahead, hospital ERs save lives daily, but this may be the first time the staff saved a wedding. We'll tell you how a groom got emergency surgery, then made it just in time to say, I do. Welcome back. Hospital emergency rooms save lives every day, of course, but this may be the first time a medical staff saved a wedding Jeff Zevely is at a hospital in California with this story.
Imagine it's your wedding day. You've got 5 hours to kill with your groomsmen before heading to the altar. What could possibly go wrong? Before his 4 o'clock wedding, Jordan Mendoza
Keep going.
decided to hit the gym for a workout with his groomsmen.
Just get a nice little pump going before the wedding. Nice little get the blood flowing.
When he thought about getting the blood flowing, this is not what Jordan had in mind when a weight smashed his thumb.
Initially, I was just like, oh, ow, that hurt.
Jordan's groomsmen thought at the very least he needed stitches, so off to the hospital they went.
I was kind of panicking just because I was thinking about I'm messing up my wedding day.
Because following this x-ray, Jordan learned his bone was shattered in 8 places. And without immediate surgery, it was possible he could lose the finger.
I thought at that moment, there was a good chance the wedding was probably going to have to get canceled.
At Scripps Memorial Hospital, they don't call it the emergency room for nothing.
You name it, we see it.
But Dory Mancuso, a registered nurse, can't recall ever being up against a wedding day deadline.
As the story got around the emergency room, we all felt bad for him, and I wanted him to make his wedding, so then I think I said to him, we need to talk to the doctor and see if we can come up with another plan.
That plan was not to put Jordan asleep for his surgery. If doctors put him under, he'd miss his wedding for sure.
I said, hey, we're going to do this wide awake so we can get you out of here as quick as possible. And so I numbed his finger and we did the surgery, and everyone chatted with Jordan the whole time, and he was cool as a cucumber.
Dr. Chris Downing, an orthopedic hand surgeon, is a husband himself, and he knew how high the stakes were.
What's interesting is, you triage patients based on what's going on medically, but there was some social attentiveness here. I think the whole team was rallying around getting him to his wedding, which was actually a lot of fun.
You guys look so good. Here's video of Jordan being raced out of surgery. One groomsman was already doing the victory dance, but time was a-ticking, and Jordan still needed to get dressed.
It was such a fever dream of thinking about getting ready for your wedding in a hospital, because who does that?
This is him leaving the hospital, and somehow he made it to his wedding only 10 minutes late.
It was the best night of my life.
Throughout it all, Jordan says his fiance, Akani, never lost her cool.
She handled that perfect, and I was just that's why I'm marrying her.
And boy, do they have a story to tell their future kids.
Definitely feels like this is a TV show episode or a movie of some sorts.
A movie that ends with everyone sharing a thumbs up.
That was Jeff Zevely reporting. Now, kudos to the both of them, because if I were him, I would have been freaking out about being awake during the surgery. I don't think I could have handled it. Now, if I were the bride, I absolutely would have been freaking out watching the clock tick and wondering, when is my man coming back? All right, congratulations to them. That's it for this episode of Featured. Until next time, make it a great one.